everyone, it's Hayes, and in today's video we're doing the commentary / analysis for episode 2 of Miraculous Ladybug season 6, or the season 6 premiere, the Illustrhater. Before I go any further, please make sure you go and watch the episode before you watch this video, because I'm about to spoil the whole thing for you. And I'm just going to state at the top here, this of course is my own opinion, and if you disagree with me, that's completely fine. I don't make these videos to try and get everyone to agree with me. I make these videos because I like to talk about Miraculous. As long as you keep your own opinion in the comments nice and you express it well and you're not rude to anyone else, then I don't care how you feel about the episode. Okay? Just say whatever you gotta say in a nice way. But anyway, let's do the quick thoughts. Oh god, I miss doing this. It's been ages since I've done it. Anyway, so overall, I would give this episode a 7 out of 10. And before I'm going to go into why, I'm just going to quickly state at the top here about the animation. I'm not going to be talking about the animation in this video or really any other video. I don't know a great deal about animation, although saying that, this week at work I did actually have to write an article about 3D modelling, so that was fun. But further than what I had to learn to write this thing for work, I don't know really much about animation, and I certainly don't know enough to be able to comment on it. All I'll say is it is quite clearly better than before. However, I'm hoping that I just get used to it, because at the minute I'm just a bit like about it. I am autistic, I struggle with change, so me being about it isn't because I hate it. I think it looks spectacular. It's just an autistic thing and I'm struggling a little bit with it. The only characters I'm not struggling with are the Kwamis, because the Kwamis look pretty much exactly the same. It's basically all the people. I appreciate all the effort that's gone into it and I do think it looks amazing. It's just gonna take some time personally for me to get used to. Because I mean, honestly, apart from like the last week, we haven't been shown a great deal of official stuff. Most of it's been blurry and not fully finished as well. So yeah, I think it's just a personal thing. I'm gonna take some time getting used to it, but that's all I'll say about the animation, because I don't know anything. But anyway, on to the actual quick thoughts, what happened in the episode. I'm a writer, we always look at the episodes from like a writer's perspective, not an animator's perspective. I did really like it. I am a little bit annoyed at something, but that's towards the end of the episode, so we go through these episodes in chronological order, so we'll get to that towards the end of the video. Overall, I think it had a good pace, it had a good plot. I love the characters, especially the little girl, she was adorable. Did she get called a name? Please tell me what it is, because I didn't catch it. Not sure why. However, I feel like this is going to be remedied as soon as we get episode 1. Because we're missing episode 1, I feel like we're missing quite a bit of context about what exactly is going on, how everyone is feeling, especially like Adrian, for example. Is he not a goddess starting to hailstone? Please ignore the sound of that. How is he feeling? Is he still grieving? And I feel it's not necessarily a fault of this episode, but because they're airing it out of order, I really think episode 1 would have been beneficial to start with. I know, for example, season 4, we got episode 6 first. However, between the end of season 3 and season 4, really not that much had changed. Whereas this is all completely different, brand new villain, brand new character designs, brand new what Paris looks like. Everything is so different that I really think it would have been beneficial to start with episode 1. So I'm hoping that feeling I have of things being missing will be remedied when we see Thematic Queen in a few weeks. So I do think it was good. So yeah, I liked it. So let's now go through it. First of all, Lila needs some therapy. It does indeed seem, we got like a little shot of her yesterday. She is surrounded by notebooks, surrounded by journals, whatever you want to call them. I don't know if she's filled them all or she's waiting to fill them. I thought I had a lot of notebooks, but not as much as Lila apparently. So then we have the sleepover, and even though the animation has changed, I'm still glad they kept like the, I don't know the right words to describe it, but like the goofiness where you have Marinette who just quickly changes positions. I love that. I love her new room, or what we saw of her new room. It was mostly lit in the dark, but like the little window seat was cute. Although the conversation she had with Alia does seem to highlight that Alia doesn't know, because I was like going back and forth and I was like, maybe Alia does know, maybe Alia doesn't know. The reason I kind of thought she did know was at the end of Recreation when Marinette's sorting out the Miraculous. She's talking to Alia and Suhan. She is like, well, I turned into Aquabug and I couldn't find the butterfly brooch anywhere in the basement. So I was like, ah, okay. So perhaps Alia does know, but then of course I remembered Marinette told everyone that the showdown happened at the mansion and that Gabriel was killed as a result of trying to save Paris, so it would stand to reason that the butterfly brooch was still there. So Marinette obviously in that scene doesn't divulge any more information of what she actually knows about the true identity of Hawk Daddy, because she does know who he is. She knows pretty much everything she could know about him, including his own address. But she doesn't divulge anything further. So it does seem Alia doesn't know, so then it seems that I would think the only people who do know would be Marinette, Natalie, Kagami and Felix and Tomoe. I think that's everyone then. I wouldn't be surprised she hasn't told Suhan though, and perhaps she has at a separate date when Alia wasn't there, but yeah. Anyway, the room was cute, the window seat, adorable. And now I'm going to quickly talk about the intro because I had a lot of people asking me for thoughts on the intro, which is fine. Overall, I thought it was super cute. I really enjoyed it. Honestly, I wasn't a big fan of the season 5 intro. It was a bit like, not that big of a fan of it, but I thought the intro was super cute. I liked how it was the focus on the other characters, but still had a decent focus on Adrien and Marinette. I thought it was great. Love the intro. It was wonderful. Although, I will reserve opinion about outfits in this video. I think it's going to take me a while because I really want to do ideally a video on each person's civilian outfit than each person's hero outfit. So probably will take me the entire season to get to, especially since I'm going away on holiday in a couple of weeks. So that'll be fun. So Alia, Nino, Marinette and Adrien all go on a date and it's super cute on the way there with the tram and stuff, and then I love how Alia and Nino just jump in, and already I've seen comments in my comment section on Twitter and stuff, people saying stuff like, since when did Adrien and Marinette know they're Rouge Carapace? Obviously Marinette knows. And if you don't remember in Rocketeer, Nino just straight up told Adrien's like, yeah, Carapace, Alia's Rouge, what are you gonna do about it? However, it does seem like Nino wouldn't know that Marinette knows he's Carapace, so perhaps something happened in episode 1. Again, we're missing some context, so I hope a lot of things will be cleared up once we finally get to see episode 1. But I also loved how amazing they were. Like, Alia and Nino haven't used those Miraculous since the end of season 4, so I'm like, has everyone been practicing over summer? Because it wasn't just them, everyone was great with their Miraculous. Even Sabrina. Sabrina has only used her Miraculous once in Panel Team, but she was doing a great job, and I am hoping again in episode 1, because I don't know what happens, I am hoping there is like a little bit of an introduction to the heroes as we go forward, but they're all great, and I did think this episode was good to show them and like their new roles. And I also liked, because I was a bit like, how is this going to work, because it's just going to be too chaotic from like a storytelling perspective to have all of the heroes turn up for every single fight. I'm not expecting to see a full hero lineup for a fight until we get to the finale. I'm not expecting to see all of them, so I liked that it was like you can kind of help out around Paris whatever you want, just do your own thing in between homework, whatever, when you got spare time. How do they fit this in around homework? I don't know. But then after that, like, don't come to an Akuma attack unless I call you. So I think that's a great way to differentiate between who's coming and who's not. So Alia and Nino as Rouge and Carapace. So slick, so smooth, they did a great job. But then finally, they're gonna do some investigating. Now, I don't blame Nino for this, fair enough. He wasn't in the position to do it, but ever since the end of Gang of Secrets, I'm pretty sure I said in theory videos back then, I was like, Alia, she's a journalist. She's gonna start investigating who Hawkmoth is. And she didn't. They did a tiny bit of investigating, I think, in one episode of season 4, and that was it. And maybe some in season 5. And now they're finally doing it. Thank God. I've been waiting 2 seasons for this. God. Although the investigation, I liked the way they went about it. However, Miss Bustier, obviously we know the first episode is Thematic Queen, but she mentions when she's talking to them that she was one of the first Akumas caused by the new butterfly holder. So I'm like, oh, is there additional Akumas in Thematic Queen? What's going on? And then I feel like the blonde lady who Nino and Alia sit with to have a coffee with in that cafe, is she Thematic Queen? Again, I think she's probably a new character since we don't know her. So I think the investigative, great. Finally, we got there. It took 2 seasons. However, the Marinette, as you all know, I love Adrienne. However, just the way it was, the majority of the Adrienne in this episode was my least favourite part of the episode. I liked the ending part with them in the cinema and having finally an honest conversation, but the rest of it was just like, this is a bit cringe. Didn't really like it that much. However, I was just like, it was just a bit weird because Marinette was like, oh, I need to learn how to be a couple, and I'm like, you had no problem with Luca. I get being nervous around guys. Completely get it. That's absolutely me. But like, don't say stuff like that as if you've never been in a relationship before, because you were largely fine with Luca. So I'm a bit like, does she have like selective amnesia or something? I don't know, although I did find it funny showing the show outside the cinema and she sees those very questionable couple where she has like her legs over his arms and like the neck. Should have done that, that would have been hilarious. Why on earth they were doing that in the centre of Paris is beyond me, absolutely beyond me. And then so we have all the introduction of the heroes, and I think it really well showcased Marinette's control issues without her having to explicitly state it. Then of course we have the cafe day, and first of all those cookies. No. Absolutely not. Disgusting. But then we have Adrian dining and dashing. I know he technically paid, but there was no money. Is he gonna get arrested later in the season? Because he doesn't know like what's gonna happen. Been thinking about that forever. Adrian with a criminal record. But yeah, I just found it a bit too cringy Adrian in the episode. I was like, I don't really enjoy this. I liked the scene at the end with them in the cinema. That was wonderful, that was great, that was lovely. But the rest of it I was like, please stop. And also, again, not even just with having a past relationship with Luca, and also Adrian's like, I've never done this before. I was like, you're in a relationship with Kagami. Not a very long one, but you were in one with her. And also at the same time, they have been going out for half of season 5. They got together like at the midway point. So I'm like, don't pretend you haven't done this together. I know it looks a bit different because you've got more freedom to be together, but don't say you've never been together when you have. You know, so, okay, whatever. But then the whole Akuma sequence and then the fight sequence was just amazing. I usually watch the show for the love square, but I think actually this part was my favourite part of the episode. I thought it was great, but first of all, I'm annoyed about the name of the villain, because Lila, first of all, the Akuma, like the actual akumatization sequence, I absolutely loved how manipulative it was. Like Gabriel was just like, you're annoyed about this thing? Let me give you some powers. Lila had quite like a few things to say about it, and I really liked how manipulative it was, especially since she was a child, which possibly sounds a bit mean for me to say. But I liked it, I thought it was really well done. But then Lila's like, what name would you like? And do you know what she says? She says the Illustrator, not the Illustrhater, the Illustrator. We got those episode names in November, and since November I have been learning how to say this word that does not exist. And we finally get the episode. And that's not even her Akuma name. Why? Maybe I just misheard it in the episode. I rewatched that specific part 3 or 4 times. Why is it called this? The Illustrator as an episode name is a good episode name. Why are we adding... I'm gonna write to my MP. No, I'm so annoyed. Anyway, I thought it was all great. I loved the whole fight sequence. I do think this was the best part of the episode, and I like how all of the heroes' skills were used well. It's like, okay, Carapace used the shelter here, we'll do this. Rena Rouge cast this illusion at the end, the cataclysm at the end. I thought it was all really well placed. I hope that continues going forward depending on whoever she calls to the fights. It was great. The little girl though, she was just absolutely adorable. The pounder at the end. She needs to be a permanent member of the team. And not just the team, I want to see her in the main cast. Put her in school with them. She's not old enough to go in high school, but just put her there. Please, can her dad get a new job at the high school? PE teacher or something, I don't know. She needs to be there because I love her. She is my new child. We have Mark, we have Aeon, and whatever her name is. I love her. She was wonderful. And now comes the part that I was annoyed about. So, and let me explain fully before anyone gets annoyed with me, because partially I understand and partially I'm like, no. So, Ali and Marinette, after the events of the day, back at Marinette's always, because we can never go to Ali's for a sleepover, apparently. So they're discussing things going on, and Marinette decides to make Ali the deputy, and she gets Tiki to give her a quagotama, which I can never say. So in case something does happen to Marinette, Alia can access all of her memories. Now if you see in my reaction, I do get quite annoyed at this, but I am still quite annoyed. But at the same time, I do also understand the logic of making Alia her deputy. Alia is one of the only people who knows who Marinette is outside of the costume, as in like she knows she's Ladybug. She's one of the only people who does. They've been sorting this out for over 2 seasons together. Alia was completely there for her during season 4 and quite a lot even more so in season 5 because of what had happened. So do I understand the logic of Alia being given this deputy position? Absolutely I do. However, at the same time, I can understand the logic of that, but also at the same time feel like it's extremely unfair on Adrian Cat Noir. Again, I know he doesn't know who she is, so I understand the logic of giving it to Alia instead over him, but also at the same time, he has been absolutely there for her always since season 1, and I just feel in terms of Ladybug and Cat Noir's relationship, because I don't know if he's going to be told this, we're going to be back to season 4 again. I remember this very vividly, when I filmed my Optigami analysis, instead of getting to editing it straight away, I decided to sit down and film another video about how Cat Noir is being left out in this season and it's going to have repercussions for the rest of the season. And pretty much 70% of the comments were telling me that I was delusional, I was incorrect, he wasn't being left out, it was just this one episode where he was slightly left out and everything would be fine. And then we all remember what happened in season 4 and that was completely right. So I'm not saying this is definitely going to happen in season 4, and I definitely feel like giving Alia this is going to, you know, possibly lead to Marinette akumatization, Lady Chaos, so then Alia can temporarily take over. I get it, I get the setup, I understand. So whilst I understand the whole logic of giving it to Alia over Cat Noir, I also just feel like it's so unfair on him to at least not, for example, discuss it with him. We all saw what he was like in Haxan, and I do, like, a lot of people are like, oh, he's just annoyed over nothing. I don't think he was annoyed over nothing. If I was him, if my partner had given her Miraculous to someone and she hadn't told me, I'd be quite rightly, first of all, scared that something had happened to her, because he has no way of knowing that Scarabella had, you know, not got this Miraculous through nefarious means and that Ladybug had given it to her freely. He had no way of knowing that. She should have at least gone into the bathroom transformed so she could text him. And then quite rightly fairly upset with Ladybug when she didn't even bother to tell him in the first place. So I think I'd be less annoyed if she maybe had discussed this with Cat Noir first, and maybe she does in episode 1. Maybe we see it in a flashback later on. I don't know. So I can understand the logic of the decision, but also at the same time feel like it is quite unfair on Cat Noir's part. Like, he has been there through her with thick and thin. Like, he's been amazing in terms of their partnership. I know he can be creepy at times, I 100% get it, I know, I understand. But I do also think it's really unfair of her to at least not discuss it with him. Maybe he doesn't want to be in charge, maybe he doesn't want to be the leader, and that would be fine. But it's about asking. You know what I mean? Like, for example, my older brother got married a couple of years ago, and I have 2 younger brothers, and he asked one of them to be his best man, which is great, which was really nice of him, but also at the same time, he didn't let the other one know that he was going to do that, and as a result the other brother did get quite upset. He didn't want to be the best man, he didn't want that responsibility, but it just would have been nice to have been asked. So I think if Ladybug had just been like to Cat Noir, like, hey, I'm thinking of doing this with Rena Rouge, she's really been there for me, would that be okay with you? Because he's already aware that someone knows her identity. I think he would have been okay with it. I don't know if he will get annoyed, I don't know if this is meant to be a plot point for later, but just personally, I find it unfair. This isn't coming from a place of hatred for Alia. As I just mentioned, I have 3 brothers. If I had a sister, I would want her to be as close to Alia as possible. I absolutely adore Alia. I think she's wonderful. She's amazing. Literally, Alia-like qualities are what I look for in all of my friends. Pretty much all of my friends, I would say, are comparable to Alia's personality and how wonderful she is. I absolutely adore Alia. But I just, whilst I understand the logic, I also do think it's unfair. What do you all think? I've spoken to a couple of people before and they're just like, well, it's logical. Like, yeah, it is logical, you're correct. But it's also unfair. I understand the logic, but something can be logical and unfair at the same time. So, yeah. And then we finally end the episode with Lila having her manic rant about, I'm a chameleon. No one's gonna know who I am. Okay, although I do definitely think it's clever for her to, like, have different voices when she's akumatizing people to keep her identity closed, like a complete secret. Like, you don't even see her proper outfit. Does she even have a proper outfit? I don't know, but I thought it was great. And I also am possibly wondering, I don't know if this is true, again, when I haven't seen episode 1 we didn't see any evidence of him, but like, if you've seen my null theory videos, I'm kind of like, Lila refers to herself at the end as being us, so I'm like, with the multiple voices, is Null helping her with that? How is she doing that? I don't know. No clue. So overall, I did enjoy it. I just feel like, first of all, some things are missing, but I'm hoping that'll be remedied when we finally see episode 1. And the Akuma fight basically carried the episode for me. The heroes carried it, the romance was a bit cringe. But overall, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. And for me, the MVP was a little girl. Oh my god, she has my heart. I absolutely loved her. So anyway, besties, that's what I think about the episode. Of course, I'd love to know what the rest of you think about this episode. Don't worry if you disagree with me, it is completely fine. I don't mind as long as you express that opinion nicely, as I have tried to do in this video about my opinion. And if you are going to leave me a long comment, that's great, that's wonderful, but please could you just bunk some paragraphs in there just so it's a little bit easier for me to read. And it does usually take me a bit longer to get round to the longer comments since I can't really reply to them on my phone. I tend to do that on my laptop. And I also do have a full-time job as well. So it might take me a little bit longer than usual, but I absolutely promise I will get to them eventually. So let us know what you thought of the episode, besties, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!